Hi, my name's Danny Humby, and I am the membership executive for the Student Radio Association. And I also do the occasional freelance radio work for Little Radio and BBC Radio 5 Live.
What was your first role in the industry?
So my first role in the actual industry was freelance work for Little Radio, which is a children's radio station created by Chris Jarvis of CBeebies fame. But in radio in general, it was being station manager at Radio Sonar back when I was at university.
Nice. What would you say is your dream job that you could get?
It is a tough one. I feel like it's still not fully set in stone. It's either something in radio or something in marketing, whether that's doing marketing for radio or doing radio specific stuff. I'm quite open to either of them, to be honest. It sort of depends what opportunities come up, but it's likely to be in those two areas, I would say.
What is your greatest achievement so far?
My greatest achievement so far has to be back in the student radio days when, in my time as station manager at Radio Sonar, I led the station to its first National Student Radio Awards since about 2014. This was a huge achievement for us, and it was a testament to the hard work from all the team to manage to achieve that. And we, really proud of what we achieved, getting Most Improved Station that year.
Following on from that, what is the biggest challenge you faced in your career?
I think the biggest challenge I faced in my career so far had to be the initial stages of being a station manager at a student station. The way that student radio stations normally work is that people do committee and then go into, potentially being a president of a society or running a station, and that's something I didn't do. So it was sort of coming to terms on how to make the station work as a station and as a society. But going forward from that, it was just sort of about keeping general engagement up. And then when it came to being actually in the industry, it was transferring what I learned from student radio onto a more professional scale.
What do you enjoy most about your job?
The thing I enjoy the most about my job is being able to give back. I've always been very open about how much student radio has helped me as a person and career-wise, and being able to be membership exec of the Student Radio Association allows me to help try and make a change back for those people still doing student radio. I've always really liked the idea that, if I can make an impact on those on that industry or that area of the industry, you're sort of setting up the future of radio, which I think is just a nice thought.
And following on, what do you enjoy the least?
I guess the thing I enjoy the least is it's still probably that professional element. I think because I am still so young, part of me does still want to mess around more than I can, and it's coming to terms with that amount of responsibility at an age where it is sort of quite a lot. I mean, there's 5 of us, I believe, maybe 6, that run the Student Radio Association. And at the end of the day, they're all people that are my age and have never run a national volunteer organisation before. Mm-hmm. So it's having to deal with that responsibility and knowing that, even if I can't be bothered to do it sometimes, it's important for lots of people, and that's just how the job works, and that's something that everyone has to take on to their future endeavours.
What is your ultimate ambition?
Ultimate ambition, I guess it comes down to what area I decide to go into, whether that is marketing or radio. But my ultimate ambition for sure is to continue to enjoy what I'm doing. I would hate to get into a situation with, especially because I regard marketing and radio as quite fun industries, or at least the parts that I would want to go into are fun industries. So I would hate to get myself into a situation where I just don't get to be a bit silly or don't get to enjoy it. So my ultimate ambition, although not a large ambition, is probably quite important in terms of, work-life balance.
Nice. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start a career in this industry?
My advice would be very dependent on what stage of their life they're at. Obviously, if they're a university student and they're hoping to go into the radio industry, then my advice would quite comfortably be, try out student radio and throw yourself into it as much as possible, because you'll get in as much as you throw in. In terms of, if it's an older demographic that are keen to get into the industry, then it is considerably harder, because you can do as much community radio work as you want, but at the end of the day, there's thousands of people across the country doing it. But if you keep persistent and then keep improving your craft, it's the same with any industry. The breaks will come eventually, but it does take that hard work and grit that, you know, and especially in a creative industry, you'll put your heart and soul into pieces of work, and you might not get much out of it in the end because of the way the cookie crumbles. So my advice for those type of people would just be to keep going.
Nice. And finally, what was something you wish you knew before starting your career?
Oh, that is an interesting question. I would say, if we're talking about back when I was a station manager, I would say I wish I knew not to stress over things that I can't change. I When I first took over the role, I did it for 2 years. I tried to do as much as I could all the time, and as soon as I learned that I could only change the things that were in my capabilities of changing, I found the job a lot easier. If the relationship with an external wasn't as great as it could be, but that wasn't my fault, I couldn't. I shouldn't. At first would get annoyed about it, but in the more experience that I got, the more I learned that actually, if I just focus on things I can change, it's easier. So in short, I would say, um, yeah, I would say I wish I knew that about only controlling, only changing what you can control. I think that's such a big thing for many work things, because time management and organization is a very difficult thing to do, especially in this day and age. And being able to juggle your time and your mental health is a big part of that. And if you can control that by only caring about what you can change, then it becomes considerably easier to get stuff done.
Brilliant. All right, cool. You're a legend for this.
No worries, boss.